Captain's Log, Stardate 150920. How's everybody doing today? Hope y'all had a good week. My week, not bad. Didn't have a bad week this week. Not bad at all. Yeah, this week's log entry brought to you by my friend Wally Fortier over at Wally's Aluminum Shaping Process. This guy, he can make you bat anything out of aluminum. He can make a Starfleet logo, Klingons, Romulans, Borg, Colts logo for the football fans out there. Colts will definitely make you Broncos logo. Might even make you that ugly bastard if you ask him nicely. Hey, hit him up. www.facebook.com/WASPAA. I don't know about y'all. I'm thirsty. This weekend ran a little short for me. Hey, it is what it is. Happens when you get busy. 2 beverage of choices. All right. It's the last one of these I have. It's a good one. I need to see if I can find more. Blue Moon First Peach Ale. It is an awesome 5.6%. Haven't had this out in a while. The Prosper mug. Proper opening device. Let's get it going. All right. Let's get it going. Kapla! Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Got to start this thing off the right way. People celebrating birthdays this week. I got 7 of you on the list. Let's get it going. First birthday from the week. Amandalynn Chrislip. I think I got it. Amandalynn, I met on the Synthaholics podcast Facebook group. Face group? That's an interesting word for it. I met her on the Synthaholics Facebook group. A lovely gal. I believe she spent half of her birthday with friends and the other half in the holodeck. Amandalynn, to you, my dear. You also appeared on the podcast talking about Haven. Hey, I was on there with the Inner Light. I liked it. I wouldn't mind hanging out with those guys again. But hey, this is for you. This is your greeting. Happy birthday. I hope you celebrated well and enjoyed. All right, next on the list, another Trekkie that I have yet to meet in person. Alan Cruz. I met him on met him on a Facebook group, believe it or not. What, Facebook group? No, get out of here. Well, yeah, I did. Hey, Alan, I hope you had a happy birthday. I hope it was a good one for you. And I hope you enjoyed a few of these. Cheers. All right. Also on that day, Angie Hitchcock. Now, Angie, I think I worked with your father at one time. Back about 10 years or so ago. A little more than 10 years ago. But hey, Angie, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had a good birthday. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're able to have you at least one of these. If not, here, I'll have one for you. All right, next on the list. I actually know this gal from here. Good friend of mine. Been a while since we've actually hung out. Jessica Stoger. Jess, how are you doing? I hope things are going well for you. I hope Sasha spoiled you on your birthday. Hey, you know what? I'll drink one for you. What the hell? Why not? Happy birthday. All right. Next on the list. I went through a school with her. I knew her as Amy Clark, but she's got a long list of names. I shortened it up to the last one that makes sense for me to know her as, Amy Nelms. Amy, how are you doing? I hope you had a good birthday. Hope things are well for you. At last count I had, you were living in North Dakota. Is that it? Am I right? Am I wrong? Hit me up. Let me know. Hey, happy birthday. All right. Next birthday, diehard Colts fan. Just like me. I knew him as Fats Go Colts. I'm talking about Cory McDonald. Cory, what's up, man? How you doing? Hope you're having a happy birthday. I hope you're living it up. And you know what? I have one of these for you if you can't. Why not? And last but not least, fellow Masonic brother, Williamsburg Lodge 493. I think he sat in the East 3 times. I think he's on his 4th time now. I'm talking about Nathan Rigsby. Brother Nathan, how's it going? How you doing? Hope things are going well for you. I hope you're still directing the band over at Richmond. Hey, my brother, happy birthday, and I'll drink one for you. All right, birthday greetings extended. Excuse me. Whew. Before I go too far into additional greetings, I have to give a special happy anniversary greeting to my dear friend Brian Diekman and his wife Georgette. To you two, congratulations on years of wedded bliss. Here's me wishing you several more. All right, now this week I had a few entries for Identify This. There we go. This was your first one. Identify the actor. Now, I've got him on Facebook. He seems to be a class act. I mean, he seems to be a class act. I've never met him in person. I was looking for the actor on this one, and Josh Baker took a stab at it. He said that this was Armin Shimmerman. Close. Their characters are related. This is actually Aaron Eisenberg. When we first met him in Deep Space Nine, he was a petty thief, and at the end of Deep Space Nine, he was a Starfleet officer, combat veteran, rank of lieutenant junior grade, and I mean he just pinned on. Excuse me. Unfortunately, nobody else took a stab at it. Josh, good job. Good try on it. Hey, I appreciate the effort. All right. Next entry. Ooh, hold on to your hat on this one. I wanted to know the episode. Austin Gubert, my good friend, knew him in Germany. He got it right. He actually nailed it. He said, through the looking glass. Man, you could not... Oh, dude. Yes. Yes, that is a very good picture of her from that episode. I mean, oof. I might have to take a little bit of time here. Nah, I can't do that. But yeah, Austin, my friend, you nailed it. To you, I give you the Prosper salute. Way to go. And I drink to you. And the last entry for Identify This week, I wanted you to identify the beverage. Nobody got it. This beverage is Tranya. It is a beverage favored by Commander Balak of the 1st Federation, which he shared with Captain Kirk, Dr. McCoy, and Lieutenant Bailey in the episode The Corbomite Maneuver. Josh commented on the picture again, but he didn't take a guess. It is what it is. Hey, you know what? That was for Identify This. Congratulations to everybody that won and to everybody that wants to play. Hey, if you get one right, if you guess and you get it right, wait a week. If you guess and you get it wrong, wait till the next one. But hey, here's to you guys. All right. Now, back to the additional greetings, which I boogered up last week. This next one I met, it turns out he's a Star Trek fan and I didn't know it. I met him on the group Westboro Baptist Church Sucks or something along those lines. I forget the name, but I'll tag that page. I'll tag that page when I post this up. Joe Graen, Graen. I'm pretty sure I just butchered that. Joe, I apologize if I did. And if I didn't, hey, sweet. Got it right the first try. But Joe, how's it going, man? You guys are doing some pretty awesome work. And stay tuned to the end of the show when I sign off, because I referenced the church. I referenced the Westboro Baptist Church, and you might like the way I do it. But hey, here's to you. All right. This next greeting. When I was moving from Germany to here, to Earth Station Okinawa, I had to make a little pit stop in Baltimore. And this lovely lady met me at the airport, picked me up, and she drove me around. She was my unofficial tour guide while I was in Baltimore. Kellie Floyd. Kellie, my dear, it was wonderful finding you on Facebook again. I hope we could pick up where we left off. And as you can tell, I took Josh's advice. I finally started doing a blog about Star Trek. Excuse me. Which this is a true spinoff. Because in order to be a spinoff, you got to have some things that are the same, but you got to have some things that are different. And believe it or not, I have a hater. I'm like Tom Brady, I have a hater. But at the same time, the only reason I have a hater is because I'm doing stuff right. He was just at the right place at the right time, and it got him 4 Super Bowl rings. But hey, you know what? Here's to you, my dear. All right, next on the list. Actually, a couple years ahead of me in school. Rode the bus with her here and there. It turns out that she is a singer. She is a singer. I am looking forward to hearing another song from her. I'm talking about Melissa Guffey. Melissa, I have heard you sing. I've actually seen you sing on Facebook. And you know what? You are very good at it. You are awesome. I cannot wait for your next song, and I very seriously think you should put together a demo disc. You really should. You need to put together a demo disc, send it in, and try. I mean, really try. You are that good. Melissa, my dear, please, for the love of God, take my advice. You deserve it, and if anybody rejects you, they don't know what they're passing up. I mean that, you know. That one's from the heart. I mean that. Here's to you. All right, moving on. This guy is he's actually on a business trip up in exotic Japan, up in the mainland. If you've seen my Patriots Hate, Colts Love album, you've seen his name pop up more than a few times. He's an active contributor, Sven Campbell. Sven, dude, come on. Bring your ass along with the rest of you down here to Earth Station Okinawa. Yeah, I know, I stole that from Josh. I don't care, it happens. Get down here. Dude, get down here. We need to meet up. And you know what? We can even do one of these if you want to. And enjoy some of these. Dude, seriously. You need to look me up. I need you to come down here and look me up, dude. I want to meet you. Come on, man. Let's make it happen. Alright. 2 more. Almost done. 2 more. This next gal I'm going to bring up, she is a very, very wonderful, classy lady. And not too long ago, she posted up a picture in a Prosper shirt. Loreley de la Luna. I think I got that right. I hope I didn't butcher it. Must have borrowed that shirt off your twin sister. But hey, Loreley, you are so awesome. I'll tell you what, I cannot describe how awesome you are. In fact, I would have to record another 20-minute one of these just to explain how awesome you are. But hey, you know what? Words can't say it. Words can't say enough. I drink to you, my dear. I hope I can meet you like I did your sister. Hey, here it goes. Alright, and last but not least, this guy is a photographer that I work with here at Earth Station Okinawa. Yesterday, we had a photo shoot with him. Good time. Probably took over 200 pictures. You know what? We had fun. I'll be sure to show off some of his work. I'm talking about Cory Menhart of Menhart Photography. Dude, you hooked us up. I had a good time. 3 hours with you yesterday. 3.5 hours. It was 3.5 hours shooting pictures, cracking jokes. We just had a good time. Anybody on Earth Station Okinawa, hit him up. I am going to put a link. I'm going to put his link to his page in here. Go like his page. Tell him I sent you. Come on. Let's hook him up. Let's make it happen. You know what, to you, my friend? I'll give you the Prosper salute, even though you're a Steelers fan. And I'm going to drink to you. Alright, let's see. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Additional greetings extended. Alrighty. Well, hey, you know what time it is, right? No, not time to warp out. Football time! What you're hearing is the Sunday Night Football theme. by Carrie Underwear, also known as Carrie Underwood. Ladies and gentlemen, the following are my picks for this week's action. And I've got a couple here that some people may not agree with. But hey, you know what? If everybody agreed with me, well, we'd all be Colts fans and it wouldn't be fun. Alright. First pick, I nailed this one, but I came close to not doing it. Broncos, Chiefs. I predicted the Broncos were going to win this one. Like I said, it was close, but the Broncos took the lead at literally the last minute. Excuse me. Took the lead last minute of the fourth quarter, and hey, all that really matters is that you get the lead at the end of the game. That's all that matters. Texans, Panthers. Two teams, Texans are a division rival, if you will. They're the team that's gotten closest to beating us in the division since the Titans had that good year, I want to say, in 2001. Going with the Panthers on this one. Panthers are a classy organization. I will give them credit. 49ers, Steelers. Let's face it. The Vikings were shit last week. I'm giving it to the Steelers. The Steelers had a chance against the cheaters last week, or as I'm going to start calling them, the asterisks, because, well, let's face it, that's all they do is cheat. I had a rant about the cheaters that I was going to go into, but I decided against it. I really don't care. It is what it is. You know what? Crap happens. Nobody's perfect. I need a drink after that one. You know what? Devoid of life, the brain cells of the average Babylon 5 fan. Good thing I got two of them. This one, I've had this one before. Shock Top Spiced Banana Wheat. 5.5% alcohol by volume. Proper opening device. There we go. Second half of the show. The last one I replicated, so I better make it work. I think I can. You know what? Kapla! Alrighty. That's pretty good stuff. That's pretty good. Where did I leave off? Steelers, 49ers. Or 49ers, Steelers. Okay. This week, moving on. Buccaneers, Saints. Come on, you couldn't even beat the Titans. Do you seriously think I'm going to give you guys? You seriously think I'm going to pick you guys this week? Go with the Saints. You know what? That's probably one of those toilet bowl games that go either way. I don't care. Lions, Vikings. After what the Vikings did last week against the 49ers, sorry, I'm picking the Cardinals. Or, not the Cardinals. I'm picking the Lions in that game. But, Cardinals, Bears, I am picking the Cardinals because, let's face it, the Bears suck. When they get rid of Jay Cutler, that's gonna improve whatever team he goes to, as well as the Bears. I know there's Bears fans out there. I know I'm probably going to get hate mail, but you know what? I probably won't because Bears fans, at least the smart ones, know I'm right. They know Cutler's been an issue for, I don't know, since they drafted him. All right, moving on. Cheaters, Bills. All right, now, this is a game that could shift the. These are two teams that could single-handedly shift the dynamic in the AFC. I'm picking the Bills for this one. I am going to pick the Bills. Something's telling me that the Bills are going to make it. And like I posted on Facebook, this one could make the season that much more interesting because, as we all know, the cheaters represent AFC East. The cheaters represent AFC East every year in the playoffs. I am hoping like hell that the Bills knock them out this year. I am hoping like I will dance. I will go frickin' dance with a Cheaters fan if that happens. But yeah, this one could make the season much more interesting. I'm going with the Bills. Hands down, going with the Bills. And about last week's game against the Colts, I seriously did not expect the pounding we got. I heard that the Bills didn't have a quarterback. Those first two touchdowns they scored, I'm like, oh shit, we're in trouble. The AFC might just get interesting. All right, moving on. Chargers Bengals. I'm going with the Chargers on this one. I don't think the Bengals have it. I really don't. Titans Browns. I normally don't pick another AFC South team, but this time they're playing the freaking Browns. All right? I got to go with the Titans, and I seriously think, based on last week, the Titans could do something this year. The Titans could go somewhere. I'm like everybody else. I'm just sitting back. I'm going to sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, but I'm also going to pay attention to what's going on. So I think the Titans have this one. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the Titans. They're either going to do something or they're going to end up watching the playoffs at the bar. All right. Falcons, Giants. Honestly, the Falcons played the Eagles last week, and the Giants gave the Cowboys that game last week. I still think the Giants are going to do something. I think the Giants can do something this year. I'm picking the Giants overall on this one. Rams, Redskins. Now, I made the mistake last week of picking the Seahawks over the Rams, but at the same time, it was Seattle, and it was St. Louis. That game ended up going into overtime, as you all remember. But hey, if I had to make the same choice, if I had to make the choice last week, if I had to make the choice again between the Rams and the Seahawks, I would pick the Seahawks again. I really would. This week against the Deadskins, yeah, I'm going Rams, mainly because it's the Deadskins. Excuse me. Woo! All right. Ravens, Raiders. I cannot, in good conscience, root for either team on this one. Unless they're playing the Patriots. But I'm picking the Ravens, mainly because they're playing the Ravens. I'm playing the Ravens. I think I've had too much to drink already. I'm picking the Ravens, mainly because they're playing the Raiders. And let's face it, the Raiders can't do crap. But they did do one thing right. They got rid of frickin' T-Rich. And here's the bad thing. If the Browns and the Raiders don't want you, you're a frickin' bust. Sorry, T-Rich. I mean, we took a chance and it blew up in our face. It is what it is. Cowboys, Eagles. Honestly, I think Chip Kelly's a few dilithium crystals short of a warp drive on this one. I'm going with the Cowboys. Let's face it. I don't think Chip Kelly knows what he's doing. And the Cowboys, they got lucky last week. But hey, you know what? Pit them against the Eagles. The Eagles. I'll go with the Cowboys. What the hell? Seahawks, Packers. The Packers, well, first off, this is a replay of last year's NFC Championship game. All right? The Seahawks came back from behind, and they won it in overtime. And when I say they came back from behind, I mean the game was like 5 minutes short of being over. And the Seahawks tied it up with the Packers. So the Packers have kind of a revenge mindset this year on this game. Then again, it's not too cold in Lambeau Field. But I'm giving it to the Packers, home field advantage. That's it. That's why I'm doing it. Jets, Colts. If the Colts lose this one, I'm scared. I am seriously going to start doubting our abilities the rest of the season, and I am seriously going to doubt us getting into the playoffs, which means no Super Bowl. So, obviously, got the Colts pegged for this one. Screw the Jets. I don't always root for the Jets, but when I do, they're playing the Patriots. All right, NFL picks taken care of. All right, now I got to move into a couple interesting stories in the Star Trek that happened this week. I'll go with the lesser of the two evils. The release date for Star Trek Beyond has been pushed. It's still on track for a release for the 50th anniversary. They're just pushing it back a couple weeks to the 22nd. They think July 8th may not be a good time frame to release this one, but at the same time, I don't know. Excuse me. Hey, it's Paramount. Let them do what they want. They get paid to make these decisions, not me. And for the worst of two evils, I actually had a good conversation with Josh Baker on this one. We were talking about how every franchise has the bad boy of the group. MASH, Harry Morgan, ended up later in life having domestic issues. But he was an old man when that went down. I mean, the man was in his 80s when he started beating on his wife. But hey, you know what? That's just one of those things. I wouldn't have expected that from him. No. I would not have expected domestic issues from him. I probably would have somebody like, oh, I don't know. Who was it? I honestly would have expected something like that from Larry Linville. No, I can't say that either. I can't say who I would have expected it from, but I can say that I would not have expected it from Harry Morgan. The man probably beat her with his walker or something. I don't know. I mean no disrespect towards Harry Morgan. I'm just spitfiring here. Harry Morgan's a class act in my book, but at the same time, crap happens. Every franchise has one. MASH had him, and it looks like Star Trek has Jennifer Lean. Ever since she got dropped from the show at the end of season 3, she's had run-ins with the law. It's gotten worse as of late. She's had warrants out for arrest for drug charges, and the most recent was exposing herself to children under the age of 13. I mean, I'm sorry, that's sick. But here's the funny thing. It's not funny. It is, but it isn't. But when the police picked her up in her home, she was naked under a blanket. The police stormed in, and she just calmly and collectively looked at them like, "I've been expecting you." I'm sorry. It's humorous, but it's not. I'm fairly certain that it's her issues with drugs that have brought her to where she is. I don't mean any disrespect to Jennifer Lean, and in fact, I honestly hope she gets help. I really do. Jennifer Lean, please take it from me on behalf of the other Star Trek on behalf of all of us Star Trek fans. Please seek help. You know, you're a beautiful actress. I mean, you're good. You're good at what you do in front of the camera. But honestly, please seek help. I'm begging you, seek help. You know what? Things happen. Hang on. You know what? Jennifer, things happen. Please seek the help and the treatment you need. Hey, special guest co-host. Lucky's here. Hi, bud. Ugh. Whew, what'd you do? Eat turd manure? You're a good boy. You're a good boy, but you're resting. Go on. I'll be out there in a little bit. All right. Hang on. Something's going on. Ah, crap. Alright, got a page that's unresponsive. Not to worry, I'm not to that point yet. Alright, let's cover this week in Trek history. The archives, I should say. Sorry, folks. Only have 3 things that happened this week, historically. On the 14th, 1936, Walter Koenig was born. Now, who's he, you might wonder? If you call yourself a Star Trek fan, you don't know who the hell Walter Koenig is, you seriously need to reevaluate a few things. Pavel Chekhov from the original Star Trek series. He's the one responsible for nuclear vessels and everything being invented in Russia. Like scotch was invented by a little old lady from Leningrad. Or the phrase, "Fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me," was invented in Russia. You know, according to him, everything was invented in Russia. 79 years old on the 14th. September 15th, Tom Hardy was born. Oh, who's that, you might be asking? The Batman fandom knows him as Bane from the Dark Knight Rises. Star Trek fans know him as Shenzon from Star Trek Nemesis. Actually a clone of Captain Picard, but he was discarded young in his life. He turned 38 back on the 15th. And September 16th, 2006. Who was born then? Nobody. Nobody Star Trek was born then. But. A little late for the 40th anniversary by about 8 days. But Star Trek the Original Series, remastered, first airs on television. The first episode, Balance of Terror. Good episode. Good episode. I have to give him credit. That was a good episode. All right. Star Trek news and in Star Trek history. Done. All right. This week we delve into the databanks with the episode Wolf in the Fold. You know what that is, folks? That's a spoiler alert. The following segment contains possible spoilers. Just giving you a heads up. If you don't want any spoilers, well, who doesn't want spoilers? Just letting you know they're out there. All right. On planet Argelius 2, Captain Kirk and Dr. McCoy are overseeing the rehabilitation of Scotty, who's recovering from a head injury caused by being distracted by a female crew member. The three of them are enjoying a dancing girl in a bar. No, they're not doing that. They're just enjoying the show. The Argelians are a people who put their pleasure first. Kirk has arranged a meeting between the dancer and Scotty, much to his delight. Scotty even comments, "That's a good captain right there, thinking of his people." But hey, good man. I'd do the same thing if I could. Scotty and the girl wander off to talk about Aberdeen's foggy nights as Kirk and McCoy look for another club. They hear the girl scream and run after them in time to see the girl dead and Scotty holding a bloody dagger. Kirk, McCoy, and Scotty are under investigation by Chief Investigator Hengist, a native of Rigel 4. The Argelians honestly aren't tough enough to have their own investigators, their own criminal investigators. Hengist begins to question Scotty about the murder, although Scotty doesn't remember anything about the weapon. He recalls walking through the fog, leading the way. The last thing he remembers before the murder is trying to turn back towards the girl. Kirk at this point is wrestling with interstellar law, and is wrestling with honoring Argelian law and his loyalty to Scotty. Hengist has sent teams to track down two other gentlemen who left the bar at roughly the same time as Scott and the girl. The Argelian leader suggests a seance of sorts, as his wife is a descendant of the people capable of performing the ceremony. They all travel to the prefect's home, where Kirk asks for permission to have a crewman transport to the surface with a psycho tricorder to see if Scotty really does remember what happened. Because at this point, it can go either way. Discussion ensues about closing Argelius to spacefaring races, which would devastate the area as Argelius is the only spaceport in the quadrant. That's a small quadrant. Either that or that quadrant was not very well prepared. Excuse me. As Lieutenant Tracy beams down from the Enterprise, she and Scotty are escorted to a secluded chamber in the house as Hengist leaves. Kirk and McCoy discuss the possibility of historical amnesia as Sibo is ready to perform the ceremony. As she wants to examine the knife, another scream is heard. Lieutenant Tracy has been killed, just like the dancer, with Scotty slumped over the table. Upstairs, Scotty is hazy as he drinks a stimulant. He comes to looking for the dead lieutenant. Scotty recounts her taking the readings, then waking up in the chamber upstairs, having no memory of what happened between them. McCoy speculates it's a result of the head injury, as Scotty desperately states he doesn't remember what happened. The chamber Scotty and Tracy was in had two entrances, the main entry and a locked door from the garden. As Hengist returns with two men, it's revealed that one of the musicians is the dead dancer's father, who demands justice for her death. The other man, named Morla, is discovered to be her ex-fiancé, who left the bar in a fit of jealousy. As Kirk is defending his crewman, Hengist points out that the circumstantial evidence against Scotty. As the ceremony is about to begin, Kirk asks the room be sealed so that nobody can leave or enter. Spock calls Kirk, speaking against the use of the ceremony, instead recommending the use of the ship's computers. Kirk begrudgingly agrees to the ceremony. Scotty takes a seat between Morla and Kirk as Sibo begins. She describes an evil presence, feeling a strong hatred of women. Baratus, Keslak, Rejak, she screams as the lights go dark, and she screams. The lights come back on in time to see Scotty holding her, falling over with the knife in her back, Scotty's hands covered in blood. Kirk and Hengist argue about Scotty's responsibility for the murder. Scott maintains his innocence, which Hengist brings up his memory problems as a block. Kirk suggests beaming up to the Enterprise to use the computers, to which the prefect agrees, stating that the guilty party will face the ancient punishment for murder. Death. Aboard the Enterprise, Scotty is under arrest. Dr. McCoy has input his medical reports into the computer, and the ship's laboratory experts are examining the murder weapon. Scotty takes a stand, placing his hand on the sensor plate. The computer verifies Scott's identity and current medical status, which aren't sufficient to warrant memory loss. Scotty states he doesn't remember anything about the first two murders, which the computer says is true. He recalls the events that took place during the ceremony, the lights going out, Scotty going towards Sibo, but being blocked by something. By something, not someone. The computer reports he's telling the truth, as Kirk telling the truth. Kirk takes the direct approach, and Hengist argues that Scotty's been saying he's innocent the whole time. Kirk orders Scotty to lie to him about his age, to which the computer says is inaccurate. Hengist sits back as Kirk continues his questioning. As Kirk tells Scotty he can step down, Hengist objects to the entire proceedings being overruled by the prefect, who has agreed to let it continue with the condition that he has the final say in the matter as the planetary prefect. Mr. Morla is questioned about the murder of the dancer. He states that he loved her, but her father denies his claim, stating he was very jealous. Morla states he didn't kill either of the women, to which the computer reports some of the statements are subjective, but he's telling the truth. Kirk and Spock begin talking about the ceremony itself, which McCoy recalls the three words the Sibo stated during the ceremony. Spock probes the linguistic databanks for meanings. Rejek has no entry in the linguistics bank, but the word is discovered in the Old English language, a synonym to Jack the Ripper. A debate ensues as to whether or not Jack the Ripper was actually a man or an entity. The computer states that an entity capable of these events would be a non-corporeal life form, capable of taking over a corporeal form, to which Kirk states is possible. Spock recommends a hypnotic screen, which blinds all but the victim to the killer's presence. As Kirk probes the computer for instances of unsolved mass murders, the reported instances take place in places that are in a direct line between Earth and Argelius. Keslak is a name given to an unidentified mass murderer on Deneb 2, while Baratus is the same name is the name for the same thing on planet Rigel 4, to which happened a year ago. Everyone looks at Hengist, who after that revelation is a possible suspect. Spock requests an analysis of the murder weapon, whose place of origin is identified as Rigel 4, as the materials that compose the weapon are found on that planet. Hengist tries to escape, but is killed in the process. The identity that was inhabiting him has fled into the ship's computer. An image appears on the view screen, which as an entity capable of controlling the ship and spawning fear in the crew. McCoy states that he has strong tranquilizers, which Kirk orders distributed to the crew. As Kirk and Spock head for the bridge via turbolift, the ship starts malfunctioning. On the bridge, Sulu reports that the life support system override has jammed. While the entity threatens the crew, Kirk orders all manual overrides on standby. After Spock has temporarily restored normal life support levels to the ship, he devises a way to force the entity from the computer. Compute to the last digit the value of pi. As pi has no end value, the computer will work on that problem until it is ordered to stop. As Kirk and Spock return to the briefing room, they discover that the entity has fled the computer. It's speculated that if the entity enters a tranquilized body, that it wouldn't pose much of a threat. Kirk orders everyone in the room, save himself and Mr. Spock, tranquilized. As Kirk goes to inject the prefect, it turns out that he's been inhabited. After the prefect is rendered harmless, the entity inhabits Hengist's corpse. Kirk and Spock overpower him and beam him into deep space, widest possible dispersion. The entity has been rendered harmless. McCoy and Scotty enter the transporter room, very tranquilized. Kirk considers taking Spock to a cafe, which McCoy and Scotty are anxious to go to. Kirk decides to resume minimal duties for the next 5 to 6 hours, which is how long it will take for the tranquilizer to wear off. Interesting stuff. Alright, let us move into the databanks. Let us move behind the scenes. We're already into the databanks. Robert Bloch, the writer of this teleplay, originally envisioned the Enterprise crew sipping drinks, which had several differently colored layers, much like the Posse Cafe. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. I'll get it wrong. The imbiber's mood would change as he drank each layer. This was dropped as being too complicated and costly to realize just for a throwaway moment of humor. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense to do. According to David Gerrold in his book, The Making of The Trouble with Tribbles, network censors were concerned that it would appear that the crew was engaged in drug use. Makes sense. Producer Gene Kuhn told the censors that they were full of horse shit, direct quote. But the drinks were excised anyway. That would have been nice to see, but cost prohibitive. The seance scene, which ends in darkness and a murder, is very similar to a scene in writer Robert Bloch's classic short story, Yours Truly. Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper, Before serving as a basis for this Trek episode, Bloch's short story was adapted into an episode of Thriller in 1961, also called Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper. A 2010 episode of Sanctuary called Haunted used the same plot as the Trek episode, only the murderous energy being which had formerly inhabited the body of Jack the Ripper later took possession of a building rather than a ship. That would have been interesting. A 1972 episode of The Sixth Sense called With Affection, Jack the Ripper used a similar plot. So needless to say, Jack the Ripper was used a lot. Too bad he wasn't used and abused, right? According to Tanya Lamani, the makeup for Kara was initially much more elaborate, Kara being the dancer. Lamani recalled, "They sent me to the makeup department because they wanted to do something extravagant with my look. The first day, they put feathers of different colors all over my face, on my eyelashes, my eyelids, my nose. Then they took me to the director, Joe Pevney, and he said, no, less! The makeup people kept trying to match his vision for 4 days, with less and less feathers and fewer colors each time. But Joe kept saying no. Finally, on the 5th day, I came in with no makeup, and he said, that's it. That's what I want to see. Her face! Lamani did her own choreography for the scene, but due to censorship concerns, had to cover her navel with a jeweled flower. Gene Roddenberry had something to say later about that. A large number of costumes were reused from previous episodes in the Argelian bar scene. Some of the extras in the bar are wearing turtleneck uniforms from the cage and where no man has gone before. 2 extras in the bar, one of them later seen on the foggy street, are wearing the silver cadet uniforms made for Bruce Mars and his stunt double in Shore Leave. Also, one bar patron, played by regular background performer Joe Paz, is wearing Commissioner Ferris' costume from the Galileo 7, and another is wearing a colonist jumpsuit recycled from The Devil in the Dark. I just watched that one. I might have to go back and double check it. This is the first episode of the 2nd season to completely utilize stock music, largely from Gerald Fried's scores for Cat's Paw and Friday's Child. Fried's Finnegan's Jig from Shore Leave can also be heard. Fried composed a new track for this episode to accompany Kara's dance. He recorded it during the scoring sessions for Amok Time. However, it went unused as the producers decided to reuse Vina's dance music from The Cage instead of Freed's composition. That would have been interesting to hear, honestly. This is one of the very few episodes of the second season to feature music composed by Alexander Courage. The Rigel 7 Fortress music by Courage for The Cage is used in the seance sequence. However, the original was not utilized. A new recording was made for the second and third seasons. The recording was used again in A Private Little War and That Which Survives. Nancy Crater's scream from The Man Trap is reused as Kara's scream when she is killed. This is one of 2 episodes that prominently feature Mr. Scott. The other episode is the third season's The Lights of Zatar. Nichelle Nichols and Walter Koenig do not appear in this episode. Ow. The Star Trek Encyclopedia incorrectly listed John Winston as appearing in the Argelius bar scene, besides his regular role of Lieutenant Kyle. Clocking in at approximately 15 minutes and 30 seconds, the courtroom hearing that constitutes virtually the third act of the episode appears to be the longest uninterrupted scene, confined to a single setting in the original series. Bet you didn't know that one, did you? I didn't. In the late 1980s, the pop band Information Society sampled Scotty's line, "Let's Go See," in their song Walking Away. Scotty would later refer to the events of this episode in Relics from the Next Generation. On that occasion, he described being implicated in the brutal murders of 3 women on Argelius 2 as a wee bit of trouble. James Blish's adaptation of this episode in Star Trek VIII features a paragraph-length description of the grotesque images that are seen on only fleetingly as swirling blobs of color on the view screen monitor in the briefing room after the entity takes over the Enterprise computer. That can be found on Memory Alpha. When Yeoman Tankris fearfully says, "What could it be?" Kirk replies, "A vision of hell." Sequels of sorts to this story were presented in issues 22 and 23 of DC Comics' Wolf on the Prowl and Wolf at the Door, and the Wildstorm TNG comic book Embrace the Wolf. And finally, according to the novel Sorrows of the Empire, the Mirror Universe Montgomery Scott was likewise accused of brutally murdering 3 women on Argelius 2. However, Captain James T. Kirk ensured that the charges were dropped without an investigation taking place. You know, I always knew the Mirror Universe was nefarious like that, but hey, didn't go into details, so hey, who cares? Let's drink. Ooh, 48 minutes. Gotta figure out a way to trim better. Devoid of life is the brain cells of the average Babylon 5 fan. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse me for burping there, but thank you, as always, for having me into your homes via tablets, phones, laptops, however you watch me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to make like the Enterprise and warp out, so everybody take care, have an awesome night or day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and if you do, name it after me. Don't drink and drive because you might spill your drink. More importantly, you might kill yourself or somebody else, and drinking and driving is dumber than being a Babylon 5 fan. And what's worse than that is rooting for cheating bastards like Tom. Bill, what are we going to do this time? They found us out on everything. I know, let's sabotage headsets. Brady, Ben slapping women, racism, animal abuse, fake friends, people who watch on bets, or anyone who is a member of, supports, or defends ISIS, or the Westboro Baptist Church, who tried to picket Leonard Nimoy's funeral but couldn't find it. Things like that are highly illogical, and I will not make time for them. Folks, I've said it before, and I wish you all to live long and prosper.